Right, hello guys, and welcome to a video of New World. In this video you should see some gameplay I recorded of me playing in the open beta that came out over the weekend. And I thought I'd do a video on my opinions after playing the game over a series of a few days, clocking in about almost 30 hours, so not loads, but I think enough to form a sort of first impression opinion on the game. I'm torn on how I feel about a lot of aspects of the game, but overall I do think it is good. I do think that it's a different MMO to what we normally have in the genre, and I do think that it provides a lot of interesting aspects that will be, something refreshing for people to play compared to current MMOs like WoW and Final Fantasy. So, let's get into it then, I guess. What to talk about first? Well, the combat, it does feel, it's fun, it's rewarding. It's very it's not tab target, it's action based, so it does require more skill, I would say. The fact that the game doesn't really do classes in the traditional sense, instead it's weapons that kind of play the role of classes, I guess. And you get to choose 2 weapons and choose abilities. You choose 3 abilities for each weapon, and that can kind of sort of change how your playstyle is. There is still the typical sort of tank, DPS, and healer in the game for the sake of group-based content like dungeons, but it's not as sort of in the traditional sense of you have a mage and a warrior tank in, a healer priest or something. It's more sort of, I don't know. It's an interesting take on it though. I found trying out the different weapons was really fun. I personally enjoy the hammer. Seems pretty strong in PvP. I tried the hatchet out. That was pretty fun. You'll see me using some of the hammer here in the gameplay and getting destroyed by these 2 guys. I will say we're a higher level than me, but I also got caught off guard. I also found the musket was pretty fun. There should be some of me using the musket later. As right now in the gameplay, I am in a group. We are trying to take over a fort against another group. I'm part of the Syndicate faction, the purple guys. And the day before this recording, like the night I was playing, a bunch of the different factions, the Syndicate and the Covenant and the Marauders and that, they were taking different areas. You can take the ownership of an area by purchasing it, and a guild can own it. So a guild known as Eldritch, they took Everfall, which was one of the towns I started in. And there was a Marauders guild, I've forgotten the name of theirs, but they took over the one just below Everfall, which I believe is called Windswood. And yeah, so you fight over the forts there. As you can see, I'm currently heading over there now, trying to get the fort back from the other faction called Covenant. And this was pretty fun, to be honest. I liked roaming around with a group of guys and just trying to kick ass and take names. It was fun. I'm not very, very good at the game, but I think in this video you'll see me help kill a few people and get a few shots off with the musket, so that should be fun. But going back to the sort of core mechanic of combat, I think overall it's quite good. I wish there was, this might be just my own personal taste, but I feel like a lock-on would be nice. Maybe that would kind of ruin the flow of it, but sometimes I do find that in I guess a game like Dark Souls or something, or even Monster Hunter, it's nice to have a lock-on when you're doing a third-person combat game. And to my knowledge, there isn't a lock-on in New World, unless I just completely have overlooked that. So maybe a lock-on would be fun, especially with using something like the hammer, which is a very big, broad weapon. But maybe it would be unfair. I don't know how unfair it would be on other weapons, like a spear, where you get to impale people. Maybe locking on would be, a bit like auto-aim. So there's probably a reason for it, probably balancing. And I haven't really had too much of a problem, to be honest. Everything has a pretty accurate hitbox, especially noticing that with the ranged weapons, things are very accurate to their hitboxes. So, if you're off by that few pixels it will miss. So that's been pretty good. But getting into the PvP side of things, I don't think anyone really did during the open beta get to level 50 to do the big open scale PvP content that you fight over territories. But these little skirmishes we had were really fun, fighting over territory. I found that most 1v1s were pretty fair. It didn't really matter too much entirely on levels. If you are just better at the game, then you should be able to kill someone. Everyone seems to do a decent amount of damage. But I found that numbers mattered more. Like a 2v1, it's very hard to win. It's not impossible, but as soon as one side has more numbers than the other, then it's not really a factor of one side having lower levels or whatever. It's just sort of, they have more people than us. So I think that's sort of why the group I was with, the Syndicate group, was doing pretty well, because I'm pretty sure we had the majority of people out of all of the factions. That being said, the other two factions still gave us a run for our money here and there, and we're fighting off against our numbers. But yeah, going in, showing my equipment, you can see all the food I've cooked, all my fishing and stuff. I'm pretty sure I show sort of a more in-depth guide of my equipment later in the video. But gathering is something I've really enjoyed so far in the game, trying to obtain as much as I can when I'm just roaming around, and then taking it all back to the town to smelt and craft. And I think we're about to reach the fort with all the people. I'm deciding to switch back to my musket, and I think I'm just going to go sniping some people, which should be fun. Can't remember if I actually got any kills here. I don't think so. But I found the musket was pretty strong. I saw a lot of people in the chat were saying about how OP it was, and I don't know if I'd call it OP. It definitely was pretty strong. A lot of the magic, I would say, was quite strong as well. Like, the magic systems in this game aren't like the traditional means. You're not really having like a staff and doing, you know, loads of different types of things. You sort of either have a fire staff that you do fire stuff. Here we go. I'm about to kill a guy. There we go. Just destroyed that dude. Absolutely swarmed by all us. And so I'm getting hit by people, archers, up on the up to the right there. Yeah, I'm about to head over to them. So I found not many people use bow and arrows, but they are quite helpful when you're trying to shoot up from an advantage. And this guy tries to get involved with his spear. I just clobber him down with the hammer. And I'm pretty sure I get pretty close to dying here. Me and him start having a 1v1. We're hitting each other, and I think he basically would have won if he didn't decide to run away. So good for me that he was a coward. I found, a lot of people using ice gauntlets. I think there's a guy down there who's used his ice block ability with the ice gauntlet, which seems like it'd be pretty useful normally, but when you're outnumbered like this, you just get destroyed. A lot of people seem to like using hammer, just get a massive amount of knockback on people and CC them to death. Life staff seems to be quite heavily used. It's nice to see a lot of people picking support, providing healing areas, and that's just nice to have people who don't want to just sort of get involved in combat constantly and instead want to help people. I am a little bit worried of what the, I guess, class balancing will be, since, again, it doesn't follow that traditional tank, DPS, healer role in the same way that you pick a class and that is your role. You can say it's sort of interchangeable, similar, I guess, to something like Elder Scrolls. So I'm worried that maybe there'd be not many tanks or not many healers if everyone just wants to run around with a sword. But, well, I mean, we'll have to see. This beta was, I think, just for stress testing the servers, so I'm unsure of what they gathered from it. I found there were a few bugs, such as, I remember one of the quests I had wasn't working, under the same stars, I believe, as you can see on the right. I couldn't get the last coffer, or the last quest item from one of the coffers. There's an audio bug. Sometimes in combat, the audio just starts to sort of go weird and almost drop out, or go muffled. That was really odd. Apparently that's really common as well. But that might be due to optimization issues, which I'm sure they'll iron out. There's me scouting out the top of the fort, which I thought, it's just such a cool, like, system of us all sieging the fort, trying to capture it, claim the control point, take back our our fort face off against any of the remaining Covenant. See, they're trying to get back to the fort now. I'm trying to snipe them. Yeah, they got a shot in. Put in one of my loaded shots, stopping rounds. Oh no, I've got put up in a power round now. Yeah, and they're just running back. There's too many of us. I'm pretty sure I get kind of cocky in a minute, and I decide I'm going to go after them. Which, let's see how that ends out for me. As yeah, I didn't want to stay over in the fort and wait for them. I wanted to go after them. So I'm trying to see where they are and want to shoot any that are nearby. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. So just firing them with muskets, holding them back. We took the fort pretty quickly, all things considered. Like it was enjoyable to siege in there with that many people, but I did feel bad for the people who were defending. I think I shot, yeah, just to quickly help with the capture, get it finished. So we actually have the fort. Pretty sure I got an achievement for this as well, which was cool. Because I had done a bit of PvP before, mostly dueling and just a bit of doing some of the faction PvP quests. But this is the first time I took a fort with someone, which was fun. So we got that. That was cool. But yeah, going back to some of the issues of the game. Obviously, it needs a bit more ironing out with a few problems. I know people have lagged out a bit. I haven't really had many lag issues, but there might be some people out there that due to optimization issues, or maybe they just don't have a good enough hardware. I'm unsure how, like, you know, optimized the game is. Also, I found sometimes there's issues with like trying to harvest something and then you get interrupted during the harvest by something attacking you, and then you can't harvest that thing anymore. That's a bit of a problem. I think we also had a problem with it when you unlocked the tier 2 for the faction. You didn't actually get access to the tier 2 items to buy. I'm not sure if that was due to there being some prerequisite, but I couldn't actually buy any of the tier 2 stuff for my faction, so that was a shame. But I mean, like I said, the beta was only 4 days, so I don't think many people even got close to max level. I saw there were some people in the level 30s and stuff. I only got to like 23, 24. I could have played a lot more and got to higher levels, but I was playing a lot more sort of casually and just for fun. I was enjoying it though. I really, really enjoyed New World, all things considered. I had not low expectations, but I wasn't expecting much. I know that there's been some controversy around the game with cash shop items and just generally delaying the game, and having issues with, I know in the past they were going to do it as just entirely a PvP MMO, and then they changed it to be more traditional with PvE content. And so it's had a bit of a rocky road. I mean, Amazon's also working on Lost Ark, which is another MMO I'm excited for. And I know that they're currently pushing the date back on Lost Ark, which a lot of people say it could be linked to the fact that they are trying to still work on New World well and getting that released. And I just think that, you know, it's fine for New World to be delayed for a little bit longer if it means that Lost Ark can come out, because that game's already done. That game's been made. It just needs to be published here in EU and America. But Lost Ark already existed over in the East, so I don't know why it's taken so long. But when that game comes out, I'll definitely be checking that out. And obviously in a couple of weeks, New World will be released, so I'll definitely be playing that. Oh, there we go. We've got some snipes on some people. I go in with the hammer, thinking I can take on this level 25, I believe he is. What level is he? There's a lot of them. Getting iced, slowed, a shot, killed. It's that quick. As soon as you get outnumbered like that, you got the ice, you got the shots, you got the people with the axe, and you're dead. It's just easy come, easy go. So I'm pretty sure after that, once we've taken the fort, and as you see, there's a little bug there where it didn't let me respawn straight away. But yeah. And I seem to have respawned in buttfuck nowhere. Yeah, I turn my PvP back off because I had my fun with that. I leave the fate up to whatever that happens to the fort with the rest of the people there. And I'm gonna go do some questing. I found the quests are they're relatively generic. It's the usual kill and fetch stuff. Nothing too sort of special. Although a lot of it is voice acted. That's been cool. That a lot of the quests are fully voice acted. I haven't really seen much in terms of cinematics, but I haven't really done that many of the main story quests. I've done a lot of side quests. Most of them, yeah, I'll just go kill this thing, go gather this stuff, which I'm very used to. So it'd be nice to see a bit more quest diversity. I definitely was starting to get sick of just killing wolves and zombies by this point of the game. I do think more creature diversity would be nice, because I was very happy when I got to find my first undead and my first pirates, but even then you can start getting sick of those. You want to, see something different every few levels just to keep things interesting. I think enemies with more mechanics would be nice. Some of them, will like try and dodge your attacks. Some will try and throw projectiles, which is nice. But like most of the time, it's I'm going to attack you. You should dodge. Very kind of, I don't know. I think they could take a leaf out of other games books like Dark Souls or something and look into how you can do sort of pre-scripted combat in a way where, almost like Monster Hunter does with some of its boss fights with the monsters, where you can tell what an attack is that's coming up. I know, like the alligators, for instance, at New World, they prepare to swing a tail at you, which was nice to see. But it'd be cool to see other creatures do something like that. Like just, I don't know, put a Lashen from The Witcher in the game and just do something like that. But yeah, as you can see, I'm struggling to parkour up this mountain. I insist on just finding my own way around things. I do think the fact that there's no minimap or is in traditional minimap is interesting. Like, for instance, you do have the compass at the top. I can see this guy's on PvP mode, but I'm not interested. But yes, the compass at the top does act as a minimap, and it does suffice enough. I do think that there's a lot of people who probably will struggle not having a visual map in the corner to go off. So it does mean that for me as a player, I do struggle with that sometimes. So I do have to check my actual world map quite often, which is a bit of a pain. It'd be nice to have a minimap, but I'm hoping that maybe they'll allow add-ons or something where people can make plugins for you to add mini-maps. That'd be cool. Something like that would be good. I'm really hoping that they'll allow add-ons in the game, just for quality of life. Maybe it'd be nice to have sort of similar to a Zygle guides or something would be good, as I found I very often were out-leveling some of the quests I was picking up. I realized that maybe I did them in the wrong order. For instance, I didn't go to an area far south called First Light for a very long time, and when I got there, the level quests were like, they were level 9, and I was already like level 18, 19 at that point. So I just clearly like had out leveled it. So, if you have something like Zygle guides, it'd be nice to sort of know the intended order of things. But again, that might just be down to they haven't quite figured that out, or I'm unsure. So I think at this point I was showing all my trade skills, which, as you can see, they were all quite high level. I mostly had gone into mining and smelting. I enjoyed trying to find all the cool ores like silver and that. I did have a problem with gathering and crafting in terms of I found that my gathering levels were a lot higher than my crafting, just due to how much you do harvest out in the open world. It's quite fun to do. It's relatively chill. It's very similar to something like RuneScape, where you just sort of do it passively. I do think that the heavy emphasis of harvesting and exploring, and that works with the game's themes. That very sort of that era of colonization with America, and that kind of time sort of fits quite well with those themes. So I really enjoyed that side of the game a lot. I think a lot of MMOs tend to make the crafting and gathering relatively redundant or not very interesting, but this game, it sort of fits in quite naturally. It's very similar to something like, I would say, Skyrim, in terms of that type of thing. So here I am showing off my stuff in my inventory, showing off all the different things I've gathered, all my tools. So I don't really have anything too crazy. I've got a couple blue items. Don't really have anything too nuts. Got a new hat, which actually equipped, which looks way worse than the one I had before. I do think the gear in the game it's not crazy or wacky by any means. It's relatively, I wouldn't say realistic's the right word. It's relatively tame, I guess. So when you get new gear, it's not like, drastic. You're not getting big shoulder pads or anything like cool visual effects. But there definitely is like some of the gear looks pretty cool. Like at one point, I think I was around level 10. I had a cool Admiral's coat, which I really wanted to keep for a long time. And I do wish that there was a form of transmogging that you could have to make your character look cooler, so they're not wearing like pink gloves and a farmer's hat. But going back to the forms of crafting, that I also found my problem with when I was trying to level up the skills was that you tend to not have a lot to actually make in the as you're leveling. Even when you're like getting to levels 30 or 40 in crafting, you still are making the same stuff. And you only really kind of unlock things at level 50. You get to craft new things, especially in like when you're trying to make armor. Like you're just making iron armor constantly. And I do wish that there was just other things to kind of tide you over, so you can be like, oh, cool, I can make this heavy iron armor at level 25 or something, or I don't know. It'd be kind of more interesting, I think, to add something in between the gaps of the levels in kind of the terms of tiered armor. So that's just something I would like to have seen more, as making lots and lots and lots of iron armor was, I don't know, a little bit kind of felt wasteful with the materials, because it was quite boring. I was having to scrap them all afterwards, while I sort of wish there was other things that I was making as I was leveling it up, trying to get to steel armor, and I never really got to armor making 50 in the end anyway, so it's a shame. I got a lot of my skills to pretty high levels. I imagine there's people out there who probably got their skills so high they could do some of the end game stuff, but another problem was that the actual workshops in the towns need to be a required tier, and these tiers can only be upgraded when the town is owned by a faction and is put as a job to be improved. So I found, like, for instance, with my cooking skill, I couldn't make the better food because the actual cooking station wasn't a high enough level. So that kind of held me back. But I think that would be fine in the actual release game, as it will be in players' best interest to upgrade the different workstations. So I'm looking forward to helping that out whenever my faction owns a town. I can put out, I can do some of the quests to help improve the workshops so that I can actually make better stuff. So that's a nice idea. I think these game systems will work out a lot better when the full release happens and they sort of stick for longer. I think this beta was relatively successful in terms of it ran relatively smoothly and the players seemed to have fun, and we got to try out the game to its full extent we had. But I do think that it did mean we couldn't really focus on some of the aspects. It would have been nice maybe if they, on the last day, put everyone to level 50 or level 60 to try out the end-game content, just to see what it's like, because I can't really comment on that, to be honest. I don't know what the in-game content is like in this. I never even got to try out a dungeon, unfortunately. I tried to get a group together for it, but I wasn't even like the right level for it exactly yet. I think I was one level under, so trying to find people for it was a pain. And oh yeah, this guy interrupts me mining my silver. What an asshole. The mob aggro is it's pretty brutal. I know that if you use the life staff, mobs just seem to magnetize towards you. I don't know if that's some sort of heal aggro or not, but yeah. I also find that it doesn't matter if a mob is significantly lower level than you, they will still hit you pretty hard, so it's always worth actually trying to dodge something. Even if you think, oh, I'm 5 or 7 levels higher than this thing, I don't need to avoid it. You'll be like, ow, actually, my body still hurts. Which you could see here. I thought I could just tank these miners because they're a lot lower level than me, but they do still hurt, and it is worth actually trying to play the game properly. So you'll see me get hurt by these tendrils as well. They really, really hurt. But I find the corruption areas are pretty cool. I did try to do a corruption portal thing, but I didn't really have enough players there. You probably need about 3 or 4 players at least at level 25 to try and clear one of the corruption portals. And I just did it with me and a friend. We just tried to clear the portal, and well, we killed the first wave of enemies, but then more came, and we had to get out of there. So didn't get to probably see what that was like. But the corruption does seem to be a pretty cool system. Seems like a cool theme. I like the red and black style of it. It kind of reminds me of I guess it's kind of similar to the Legion expansion, WoW, with the Legion invasions and how to clear their the portals there and stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah, more of these tendrils. This player helping me out. But yeah, I mean, the New World beta was pretty fun. I'm glad I got to be a part of it and try it out. I definitely, it's going to help me when I want to play this on release, to know how I want to play it. You know, what weapons I want, what sort of things I want to do in terms of. I most likely will probably go off and just gather and harvest for a while just to get loads of resources. I also found that you can't actually sell items like to it. There's no vendors to, like, sell things to you, so you either like salvage stuff or you like sell it on the auction house, which I thought was really interesting. But I didn't really find that making money was very hard. I found that it wasn't really hard to make money, or the other resource, Azoth. You use this blue resource called Azoth, which you see I just acquired there from killing that thing. That's used for a variety of stuff, like crafting. It's used as a currency for teleporting around, fast traveling. And I found that I was being stingy with it at first, but at a certain point I was almost capped with it, and I had loads. So now I know that, I definitely won't be sort of so stingy with it. Now I know that it's just so easy to get. You'll see here that, yeah, I almost died to tanking the miner and the tendril. Didn't realize how much it was hurting me. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe I played, I don't even know if I would even call it a quarter of the game. I'm going off a guess, just the fact that 60 is max level, and I'm going to assume the skills, logging and stuff, probably can go to like 200, and I already got mine to like 50, so going off that idea, I think I got maybe a quarter into the game. I got my Azov staff in the end. I did get my Azov staff, which is what you use to clear the corruptions. But after that, that's basically where I sort of stopped playing. I played a little bit on the last day of the beta, but I found that, you know, since the beta was ending and everyone seemed to be sort of just waiting it out, I sort of left it there, leaving it on a high. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I think I basically played it for like, I don't know, 5 to 8 hours every day, or at least a solid amount of time, just whether I was questing or gathering or what. But yeah, I mean, New World, I don't know what I would give it out of 10. It's hard to say. You'd really have to see how it goes on launch. I mean, it's probably going to be packed, I imagine. There was even issues in the beta with certain bosses getting just killed too quickly so people can tag them. So that might be a bit of a problem. I don't know if they will do instances like WoW does, or if they're going to do something else, add other servers and then merge them when population goes down. I'm unsure how they're going to manage all the numbers, because I imagine there will be a lot of players on launch. So that would be interesting to see if there's not going to be massive queue times. But I think this MMO will be pretty good. I think New World is promising. I think as long as Amazon intends to stick with it, I think they probably will. Going off the world map and the fact that you can see in the top left of the actual entire world map, there is you can easily see how they would attach that to more of an island. Also, this loading screen here actually has a really cool mob that I wish I got to see, and I'm assuming that's a much higher level enemy. So I'm hoping to see that some of the later level mobs when I get to play the game on release. But yeah, I imagine they probably will add more islands or whatever, or extra areas for years to come. That's my hope, is that they will stick with this game, because I think it'll be interesting. I mean, in terms of them adding new classes, they just have to add new weapons, and that will add, more. They can add more abilities on the weapons. They could it'd be a much more different way, I think, of player progression in this than other ones, as in like other MMOs typically will add like, here's a new playable race or here's a new class, and obviously in this you don't really have it like that. You have it as more of a sort of, here's your weapons and here's your like your crafting, your trade skills, and I think that's going to be where the progression will continue. As you can see here, I'm going for my crafting stuff. I realized that I need spine caps for a quest or something. So yeah, I'm going around through all the different crafting stations, seeing what I can craft after all the things I've gathered. And I found that, you know, this is just something I would do every time I was in the town. I would just check all the crafting stations and seeing what I can make. I found that it didn't really matter too much, particularly what I was crafting, if I was just trying to level up the skill. I found that food was kind of annoying to level up because all the different ingredients, it's kind of hard to get some of them. But here I got to make some nice food, which is good. But anyway, I'm ranting now, so I'm probably going to give my final verdict on everything, how I feel about the game, and then I'll just leave it with a bit of end game play. So basically, New World, do I think it is good? Yes, I do think the game is good. I think that it looks fine. It's not, you know, super graphically impressive, but it's pretty nice looking game. I think the combat is fun. I don't think there's really any issues with it too much. I don't know if there's any sort of OP builds yet or not, but I mean, I'm watching some PvP there and it seems relatively fair. I do think that, you know, the combat is fine. I think all the different weapon styles, you know, interesting and change up the way you play drastically. I do think that the way they've done it with gear, where, you know, you have heavy, light, and medium gear, will change on your sort of how well you can dodge. I think that's very good, similar to Dark Souls with the weight load. I think that there's lots to do in terms of crafting and gathering, similar to RuneScape, that will add hours and hours and hours of just going out into the woods and chopping down trees and mining. So that's all fun, because I do miss those sort of games where you can just turn your brain off and spend a few hours just wandering and collecting and hunting and harvesting. And yeah, overall, I think, you know, the game will be pretty good. I hope the questing will get a bit better. I do think it's a little bit on the bland side. I am unsure how good the PvE content will be. I imagine there'll be a lot of players to do the content with, but I don't know how interesting the dungeons. I don't even know if there is raids. I would hope there would be. I found the areas I was in terms of the map, in terms of how interesting it was a lot of woods and grassland, which I thought was a little bit boring. So I'm hoping it gets more interesting and has more environmental diversity, different zones in the game. That's my hope anyway. So all in all, I think New World's pretty good. I think it's fun, and I look forward to playing it on release. I just hope they fix any bugs, issues they have, like the audio one I mentioned. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. And let me know what you guys think of the game down in the comments below. And until next time, see ya.